And I'm going to let some, alright, Pastor Carlos, what's going on, man? Some people wanted me to periscope this, so some of them will rewatch it, but this is what's up, Pastor Carlos? This is actually a sermon that I preached at my church a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if I'm necessarily going to preach it, but I wanted to periscope it out, and some coworkers and different things wanted to watch it, so I'm going to start in Isaiah 26, 3 through 4. Isaiah 26, 3 through 4. I want to talk about the subject, yet will I trust. Yet will I trust thee. What do you do when the evidence contradicts your faith? Isaiah 26, 3 and 4 says this. It says, thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts in thee. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. Where I want to go with this is it says, he will keep him in perfect peace, those who trust in him. I want to talk about faith for a minute. What is faith? The Bible says in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, it says, now faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is a substance of things hoped for. It's the tangible things of the things you hope for, and the evidence of the things not seen. That means it is a proof of the things not seen. Faith. We know that without faith it is impossible to please God, according to Hebrews 11 through 6. All throughout the Bible it says that by faith Abraham, by faith Noah, by faith Moses, by faith Daniel, by faith Enoch, by faith. It goes by faith, by faith, by faith. But what happens when that evidence, the evidence of things hoped for, contradicts that thing that you have faith for? And where this message was breathed out is probably one of the hardest times my wife and I have went through, was the most recent battle. What we went through was not new to us, but the level of faith that we had going into this thing was new to us. My wife, some of you guys have seen my testimony, a testimony that I had posted to my Facebook page here several weeks ago, where my wife took a pregnancy test and it came back pregnant. We've had a series of about 4 or 5 miscarriages in the past, and we prayed and we went to the doctor, and the doctor said that it was an empty sac. There was no development there. There was no fetal pole there. There was nothing there. And we was okay with that. God gave us a peace about it. A week later, we went to follow up and get the process started in order for my wife to pass this empty sac. And all of a sudden, there was a heartbeat, and there was development that was about 6 weeks worth of development that had happened literally overnight. We knew that God had done something. Our faith had been built. We was expecting at that point. There was an expectation there that, okay, God made something where there was nothing, and now we was going to go forth. I mean, even the doctor said it was a miracle, that there was no hope, there was no reasonable expectation medically, scientifically, of any development happened, yet God had placed something in her womb and gave it a heartbeat. We went back the next week, and there was yet another heartbeat, still healthy. But then the next week we went back, and all of a sudden we got the news that did not sit well with us. There had been no more development, and there wasn't a heartbeat. Well, then we went back 1 more week later. Hey, from Russia. Nice to have you, Christina. We went back 1 week later, and it was confirmed that my wife has indeed miscarriage. Challenged my faith so much. How could God... Here's what my mindset was. How could God give us a false sense of hope? How could God... We was okay with no development. We was okay with an empty sac. We was okay with all of that. But what we was not okay with, at 974, that's fine, man. God bless you. But what we was not okay with, or we're not, what we was not okay with was God to be able to place, was God to place a false sense of hope. We asked ourselves, why would God do this to us? Why would God allow something like this to happen? Why would God allow there to be development? Why would God allow there to be development? and give us that false sense when we had hope for so much. I am a big man. I guess Americans are big. Why would God allow such a false hope to be built inside of us? I could not understand that. I didn't serve a God that would do something. I don't serve a God that would set me up for failure. What was going on? My faith was shattered. The evidence went against everything I had faith in. You see, the problem is, and there's two extremes in churches today and in Christianity. You've got the poverty mentality that, well, you've got to suffer for Jesus. Jesus, the bad things happen to Christians, and we just have to suffer through it. And, we got to be poor. It's kind of like a poverty mentality that, Jesus can't heal you if you've never been sick, so you got to be sick so you can have a testimony. I don't agree with that, but also you have the blab it and grab it, the name it and claim it faith, and that, says, well, if you just speak it, things will happen. But what happens, the problem with both extremes is when tragedy strikes, you have nothing to stand on. You can say, I have faith, but what happens when the evidence contradicts your faith? I have faith that God was going to allow my wife to carry this child. Several people spoke it, that this was going to be the child that God was going to allow to be born, and God was going to give us an additional healthy son to carry on the priesthood. But what happened to that? Is God a liar? No. Is my faith in vain? No. But my faith that would happen does no good when reality says that child had miscarried. So what happens? That's where trust comes into play. You see, Christians walk away from God in times of trials because they have faith in the answer, but they have not trusted the one who can give that answer. You see, the Bible says that he will keep him in perfect peace, those who trust him. You see, consider the definitions when circumstances exceed your faith. You see, you have to trust in the Lord because of who he is. Faith is a belief that is not based on truth. I'll say that again. Faith is a belief that is not based on proof. I have faith in a God I do not see. I had faith in a child that I did not yet have. I have faith. True Islam? Well, I hope you listen to this, because you can have true Islam, but unless you know the true God, and his name is not Allah, then only hell awaits you. But anyway, I had faith in something I could not see. It was the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You see, but trust is a reliance on the integrity, the strength, and the ability of a person or thing. It's confidence in the one who has the answer. It's confidence in the one who has the answer to provide the answer. It's like a trustee. If you know anything about the law, when you have a trust, you can take that trust to the bank, because the one who's able to sign and is over that trust has all of the legal authority to act upon that trust, to pay it out, to provide proof. You see, I had faith in the answer that my wife was going to have a healthy child. But yet I trust the one who had the ability to provide that healthy child. So if that healthy child did not come about, I still have my trust in God, even though my faith was tested and tried. You see, there's a big difference there. You see, if you trust something, you know it's going to be handled, managed, or delivered. It also implies that you have a relationship with the trustee. But if you have faith in something, all you are doing is holding on to hope. You see, but hope does not sustain you. You see, I kind of hope this makes sense. I hope it makes sense, the difference between faith and trust. You see, I think back to Job. Job had faith in God. But more than faith, he had to have trust. Because he had faith that God would not attack him or allow bad to happen to him. But yet when everything was lost with Job, what happened? The Bible says when his wife even said, curse God and die, he says this. He actually says, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. You see, again, Isaiah chapter 26, verse 4 says, trust in the Lord forever, for in the Lord, Jehovah, Not Allah, not Buddha, not Muhammad, but in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. Why Jehovah? Jehovah means this, the one true self-existing God. What that means is he is God no matter what happens, no matter what comes his way, no matter what you say, no matter what science says. God is still God. That's why science cannot disprove God. It can only explain how God has worked. Evolution does not contradict God. It just explains how God would work. They could find all this evidence and it would not change who God is. He is a self-existing God. So if I trust, which by the way, that word trust is balka, it means to be confident, bold, and careless in your security. If I am careless in my trust in the one true existing God, then it doesn't matter what hell may come my way. I know that God is still in control, and ultimately it is his will over my life, not my own. You see, I can have peace. It says he will keep him in perfect peace, those who trust in him. Why? Because no matter what the answer is, I know he works everything together for the good of those who serve him. I trust him. I trust him. You know, God gave me another word. 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 15. I'm going to go off subject just a little bit. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 44. God kind of gave me this word as I was studying after the miscarriage and the passing of the tissue and everything had been completed. 15:44 says this: it is sown a natural body, but it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body, and then there is a spiritual body. So it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul, and the last Adam was made a quickening in spirit. You see, a lot of things in the physical mirror the things that are going on in the spiritual. You see, the enemy is trying to steal the things that the Lord has put inside you. And this is where my trust had to come into play. It's because in the spiritual, God has been birthing a vision for my future ministry. God has been birthing a vision. Pastor Carlos, you can attest to this. The fight and the hell that my wife and I has been through in our marriage and in our home and in our finances. God has restored our finances. God has restored our marriage. God has restored our family. God is getting us on the right path. And God has birthed something inside of us, yet the physical was trying to get us to miscarry that. The physical was saying that no, there's a miscarriage, that the pregnancy, the birthing process would not take place. It was trying to get my spirit to mirror that. Yet God spoke to me and says, there is not a spiritual miscarriage. You can either abort what I put inside of you, or you can carry it. You see, in the natural, you either miscarry and keep trying to conceive, or you can give up. But in the spirit, you cannot miscarry. You can only abort, or you can give up. You would have to abort what God is birthing in the spirit. You can conceive, carry, birth, and conceive again. However, conception only comes by intimacy. Somebody needs to get that. Conception will only come by intimacy. You've been saying, God, I want you to birth something inside of me. Yet we have not spent the time getting intimate with God. You see, my wife could not get pregnant unless there was some kind of intimacy that happened there. Come on, somebody needs to hear this. And the intimacy cannot be random. The intimacy has to be planned, and it has to be a period of intimacy to get all the right ingredients together to produce that pregnancy. It is the same thing in the spirit. You have to be intimate with God and know who God is. Spend that time in worship in order for conception to begin. You see, somebody needs to obtain this tonight. God has put something on the inside of somebody, and it's been delayed, or there's been a delay in this thing being birthed. Maybe you've lost hope. Maybe you've lost faith. Maybe you're going through a season where you can't really see God working, and you're about to lose and just say, you know what, I give up, I walk away. Maybe this thing isn't for me, but God says if you will just trust me, I have the authority to answer you. The answer may not look like you want it to. You see, I may not have another child come in the natural, but there may be an adoption. There may be some spiritual children that God is about to place under me. And God says the answer may not look like you want it to, but I have something already laid aside for you. And if you will trust in me, since I have the authority to give it to you, when I give it to you, you will see it is better than the thing that you asked for. Somebody needs to get that. I don't know what God has placed in you. I don't know what process you are in your season, but I do know this: if you will put your trust in Him, God will honor your faith. Don't have faith in the answer. Have trust in the one who can provide that. But the only thing that faith is there for is because by faith it is impossible to believe God, because it is by faith you are saved. Once you believe and have faith in God and your trust is laid in Him, nothing else matters. Because it doesn't matter what the answer is going to look like. Your trust is what is going to pay the dividends out. I hope somebody got that. I hope that helps somebody. That's a quick version of what God has birthed inside of me, but I wanted to share that. I know that God doesn't just give us something to hold on to and keep for ourselves. God never takes you through a trial without a purpose, without something in the end. I wanted to share that with you. Remember, trust God. Trust in who He is. Trust Him because He has the ability to give you the answer. I love you guys, and I'm praying for you guys. Swipe to the right, share this on your Facebook, share this with your friends. I'll post this on a YouTube channel, post it on my Facebook for you to go back and watch. I'll try to do some more of these periscopes, but I just wanted to get this out there, get this to you guys. Connect with me at Event Pastor on Periscope. I'm also on Twitter. I'm on Facebook at Event Pastor as well. Follow at Mount Zion FL on Twitter. Check out Mount Zion, Florida. Great church. If you're in the Plant City, Thanota, Sassa area, I encourage you to get there. By all means, Pastor Carlos is doing great work over there. God bless you. We'll see you guys later.